Hello, and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, specifically maybe of the romance kind, then here are some that I've read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa for today is The Archvillain's Daughter-in-Law, a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 93 on. Its main character is Laria Losttree, a reincarnator who transmigrated into a novel from her previous life. Instead of reincarnating into the female lead or having a major role, instead, she is a side character who's destined to die after a period of time, if the book's plot proceeds. So, as she follows the events of the book to get adopted by Duke Acardes, which ensures her immediate survival, Laria must now look for a way to get out of there before she herself is put to death. Will she succeed in surviving? What other mysteries and storylines will we see while she's at the Duke's residence? The story is 8 out of 10. The reincarnating into a novel trope has established itself considering the amount of them that I've covered on this channel. This particular story, though, focuses on Laria's plan and efforts to ensure her survival. But even Laria herself omits something important, and it's how she feels about the situation. Will her attitude and overall outlook change those of the ducal household, or are there other secrets that lay in the way? The characters are 9 out of 10. With a strong-minded female lead, Laria is not shy from taking action herself even if she's just a little kid. Her earnest attitude and positive demeanor helps the story move along and not get stuck in a rut. The members of the ducal family and household, though, are their own set of interesting characters to say the least, and while you might find them irritating, they do grow on you to a degree. The art is 8 out of 10. Because of that kid-oriented perspective that surrounds the story, the overall art style and illustration permeates a more positive and childlike attitude. But it does have the capacity to show more grueling and serious moments as well. The dichotomy between the two help enhance some choice scenes. So if you're a fan of the reincarnating into a novel genre, maybe even looking for another story similar to My Fatal Divorce from my previous videos, then The Archvillain's Daughter-in-Law would be one to read for you. This next manhwa is I Will Divorce the Female Lead's Older Brother, a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 52 on. Its protagonist is Ethel, an individual who married into the Cassius house. However, she is in the world of a novel, specifically one that she read in her previous life because Ethel is a transmigrator. At first, she was ecstatic because she loved the story in the novel and thought that she would be able to fangirl and live alongside the characters she held so dear. This wasn't the reality though, because instead, she was greeted with indifference, ignorance, and overall lack of attention, as she's quite the stranger in House Cassius. After having enough of this, she looks to now get divorced as she clearly sees there's no room to be a part of this so-called family. The story is 9 out of 10. A satisfying overall journey to divorce. If you've enjoyed stories that have a stronger female lead, not necessarily physically, but more in attitude and overall drive to achieve a goal, then this story will provide that same feeling. Ethel's will to get divorced is rock solid and will not fall down so easily after her decision is made. The characters are 8 out of 10. With a comedic overtone but mysterious undertones, the cast of characters from the novel, in addition to those that Ethel gets to encounter, provide a variety of situations for Ethel to navigate and for the reader to react, let's say. The art is 8 out of 10 as well. With a cute alternate art style and overall good illustration, I find myself enjoying the story and characters more due to how it's shown to us readers. Just be warned, there isn't any action scenes if you're anticipating any of that. So if you're a fan of the reincarnating into a novel genre, specifically those of a more female lead romantic fantasy type, then I Will Divorce the Female Lead's Older Brother warrants at least a reading session from you. I Swear We're Just Friends is the title of our next manhwa. It's a romance manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 50 on. Rien is the name of its main character, and she is a student that successfully transferred into the elite and prestigious Elena Academy. What she didn't expect was that she would get involved with one of the most popular figures in the school, Carcian. We find out pretty quickly that Carcian seems to have feelings for Yen, but instead of accepting it, she brushes it off as if it's nothing. Will Carson be able to convince her to look at him romantically, or will Rien be successful in warding off the feelings of the ever-so-forward Carson? The story is 6 out of 10. A simple yet charming tale, I Swear We're Just Friends provides a more relaxing and comedy school life atmosphere that focuses on the relationship surrounding Rien. The relationship between the two is quite romantic, yet why is Rien being so careful? Does she have her own reason for not accepting or even trying to see how her and Carcian would be as a couple? Or is there something else holding her back? The characters are 8 out of 10. To put it bluntly, the characters are more like a high school/university drama that you're watching with both anticipation and irritation. The redeeming part is that there are characters within the manhwa that react just as we would in some of the more cringy yet appealing ways that Carcian tries to win over Rien. The art is 7 out of 10. With its charming characters and comedic moments scattered throughout, the illustration of the manhwa gives a satisfying vision to the way that both Rien, Carcian, and others look at the situations they find themselves in, for better or for worse. So if you're a fan of fantasy romance stories and would like a more straightforward approach for a character pursuing his romantic interest with a dash of comedic scenes and illustrations here and there, then I Swear We're Just Friends is worth a shot. Our next manhwa to take a look at is When a Villainess and Villain Meet, a fantasy manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 23 on. Its story revolves around Atalanta, an infamous woman who is the head of a criminal organization that commits violent acts against the nobles of the kingdom. One fateful day, she receives a commission from the Emperor, although Atalanta and readers will view it as more of a threat, to assassinate the Grand Duke. Now having to try and complete this job, Atalanta tries to prepare properly, and as she is about to strike the Duke due to a mistake, the Duke still lives but is now infatuated with her? What the heck is going on? The potential is 7 out of 10. A romantic setup with dubious undertones, the love that the Grand Duke is showing is quite suspicious, and Atalanta is very much aware. Will she be able to complete the job, or will feelings of love or the plot take over and things take a drastic turn? Clearly the love isn't real, so how long will this go on? The art is 8 out of 10. With its contrasting illustrations of the Grand Duke from being a more violent and tyrannical person to one of pure love, interest, and care, plus the contrast between Atalanta's skillful display of combat and naivety in social situations, there's a lot of room for relationship growth in both positive and negative ways. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with new fantasy manhwa titles, and what I've put forward so far is intriguing enough for you to take a chance at it, then When Villainess and Villain Meet may suit your reading wants. Welcome to the highlight portion of today's video as we look at how one of the manhwas mentioned in a previous video is doing as I've continued reading it. Slight spoiler warning as we will be discussing the events in the manhwa since my previous opinion. Today's highlight is the Frostflower Knight, which I've currently read up to chapter 88 on. Info card in the description will have links to my original opinion. For this particular highlight, due to the fact that it's now finished and I've read up to the end, I will be trying to hold back a bit in terms of specific facts so that the ending isn't necessarily spoiled. Julia von Rosenthal has been busy with her duties as the captain of her Order of Knights. She diligently fulfills her duties but is so often pulled in by the curse and circumstances of her family. This isn't the only thing that's been developing though, as there have also been some romantic events going on as she seems to have finally found someone who might just be the one for her. My previous scores for this manhwa were 8 out of 10 for story and 7 out of 10 for art and characters. The story stays the same at 8 out of 10 as while the initial regression story was interesting, it moved itself into a more hero's tale type journey as it got further along. There is a clear path that Julia must take as if destiny is pulling her. Overall, it's not a bad thing as I've enjoyed the manhwa to its end, but it did leave me wanting a bit more afterwards. The art also stays at 7 out of 10 as the action we see displayed is sprinkled in with the romance taking more of an active role with its illustration and time in the spotlight. The characters move up by 1 to 8 out of 10 as with the culmination of its story, we see a proper supporting cast that gives Julia the needed drive and motivation to complete the destiny that she has been given. She's had a hard journey, that's for sure. How to Divorce a Dragon Beautifully was another manhwa on this channel that evokes that short and sweet feeling, and while not necessarily the same genre, the Frostflower Knight evokes it as well. It provides the reader a satisfying yet short-lived length of a manhwa that has you following a heroine's journey to fulfill her destiny. But they do have romantic interest in common at least. Would you agree, or would you not? Comment down below your thoughts on the Frostflower Knight. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Write in the comment section down below what manhwa you've been reading and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.